players at Vestavia Hills Soccer Club. If you have any questions as we go through this meeting, please just put it in the chat, and we will get those questions answered as we go through or at the end of the session. Right now, we're going to share our screen. We got a little keynote here that has been prepared for us, and we will get started. Okay. My name is Jason Woodall. I'm the Academy Director here at the Vestavia Hills Soccer Club. I'm also the General Manager, and I've been at the soccer club since basically the year 2001. Very excited to continue on this year, moving forward. We are also joined by Director Nolan Walsh, who will chime in here a little bit later. But just to go through what we're going to talk about today, we're going to kind of go over the overview of the club and its history, the pathways available to everyone here, talk about coach assignments, and we have pre-tryout camp tomorrow. It starts tomorrow if you're interested, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the program entry and team formation as we move into next season and the actual tryout and team process, any program highlights we might have for you. But like I said, if you have any questions or anything, just put them in that Q&A and we'll get them answered for you. Just a little history about the Vestavia Hills Soccer Club. We were founded back in 1979, and that is just a testament of our legacy here in Alabama. The directors here have been at the club since 2000, if not before, and we're excited to continue on this next year. We have a partner club that was founded in 2020 called Hoover Vestavia Soccer, which is an alternate pathway into elite soccer offered for players U11 and older. So just give a quick overview of the pathways at Vestavia Hills Soccer Club. We have recreational soccer, which some of you have come from this year, if not in the past year or two. We have what's called the Academy, which is the bridge program between recreational soccer and competitive soccer. For all intents and purposes, the Academy is competitive soccer for under 8 through under 11. It's just a bridge between recreational and competitive soccer. Full competitive soccer starts at under 12, where we have fixed team rosters with a certain number of spots on teams, and that's the main delineation between academy and competitive. Whereas academy is a more inclusive program where we can have different numbers on teams and such, which we'll go through a little bit later in this presentation. So the academy is under 8 soccer through under 11, and that kind of forms our foundation, our base of the pyramid at the club, from recreational through to competitive soccer. Vestavia Hills Soccer Club has, as we know, ages U4 through U19 recreational soccer. The U12 through U19 competitive state leagues involves the Alabama State League, tournament travel. The under 8 through under 11 academy soccer plays here locally in Birmingham in what's called the Alabama D League. So essentially what we are doing is we're building from the foundation of recreational soccer to academy, which moves into competitive soccer at under 12 and older. So it just kind of gives you a good overview of the pyramid and what we're looking at moving forward here. Tomorrow starts our pre-tryout camp, which is May 17th and 18th, Friday night and Saturday morning. You can register online for that right now. It is age groups under 8 through under 12. The actual tryouts that we have are next Monday, which are Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, May 20th through 22nd. And the question always comes up is, what if you can't make all 3 days? Just make sure you send us a note if you can't make it any of the days, and we'll put it on your profile. But it's no problem if you need to miss a day or two for a graduation or other family event that you've got going. So, and both of these can be found at VestaviaSoccer.com /tryouts or /camps. Okay. All right. So, like we just mentioned, tryouts will start next Monday, May 20th through 22nd. Currently, we're most likely going to have all the tryouts at the Shack, but please check the website for details. We'll send out notice about finalization of the actual tryout locations. But you'll need to register for tryouts online if you have not done already. We have a email notification process for players that make teams. We could talk to you at the fields, but everyone here will get a message. You've either been accepted into the program with the academy, or you've been accepted into a U12 competitive team, or you'll be asked that, maybe if you don't make a team, to maybe enter the recreational program for another season, and we'll reevaluate you in between the seasons. But our notification process here for the under 12 and younger is via email. So it's very important that when you sign up, that email is correct. If you have multiple people associated with your account, make sure you're checking all the emails that are assigned to that account. Tentative coach assignments have been published online for all age groups under 8 through under 12. Right. And so in the evaluations, the considerations that we have are psychological and physical development and technical development for all the players. And we weigh this against all the players that come and try to give the best assessment we can over the 3-day process of tryouts. Okay. For the under 8 through under 11, we have a preseason camp that is July 29th through August 1st. That will be the kickoff week for pretty much all the age groups in the club, but specifically for the under 8s through U11s, we'll have a half-day camp, which will either be in the morning or the evening, which we'll send out information post-tryouts about. All normal team training for if you make a team will begin on August 5th of next August. Okay, so when we talk about the differences of the academy versus under 12 competitive soccer, the academy model is a little bit different because we are an inclusive program, which basically means if we have a weird number or an off number of players in a group to form a team. For instance, if we have a 7 versus 7 team, ideally we want 8 to 10 players on that roster. If we have 14 or 15 players come out for tryouts and all of them enter into the program, that looks something like a team and a half or 2 teams of 7, which is not enough for a full team. So what we do is we guest players between the 2 teams throughout the season and still include all 14 players in the program. When you hit under 12 soccer, and that's 9v9 for us, the ideal number is 10 to 13 players. But if you're older than U11, if you're in the U12 group, we'll have fixed numbers on those teams. For instance, you could accept anywhere from 12 to 14 players for a 9-a-side team, which means if 16 players came out for that 9-a-side team, 2 possibly could not make the squad. And so you have fixed rosters there, whereas in the academy, we're an inclusive program versus that full competitive model at under 12. Inside the academy, we're going to tier our teams as well as in U12 soccer, which we'll see first and second teams, or even third teams. But inside the academy, we want to place all the players in a developmentally appropriate environment, which basically means we try to pair like players with other like players. And that, inside of the program, you can see 2 first teams, you can see a first, second, and third team, but we all try to place those players in the most appropriate environment we can for them. For our team formation itself, for the academy under 8 through under 11, we take preseason camp, we take the tryout itself next week, those 3 days to evaluate the kids, but we also take preseason camp, which is July 29th through August 1st, to further evaluate the players with the other players inside the academy to tier those teams. So by August 5th, we'll have formed our teams. You'll know who your coaches specifically are, and you'll know your tournaments at that point. The under 12 program operates a little bit differently because those teams will be formed right out of the gate next week by next Wednesday. And so you'll know your coach then and your tournament schedule a little bit later this summer. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody. We're just going to take a quick breath to see if anybody has any questions that we can get answered for you in the Q&A here. Okay, here we got a question for the academy under 8 through under 11, the weekly practice game schedule. So we'll get that in the next slide, so we're going to answer that one in just a second. If we've got any more questions, we can do them in here. If not, we'll just move on. Great. One of the questions was, can we better explain the guest player situation? And it sounds like some kids can rotate across different teams. For the academy itself, for instance, if we had 2 7 versus 7 teams, one group had 7 players, another group had 7 or 8 players, we could take 3 or 4 of the players on team 2 and guest play them with team 1 and vice versa to fill up those rosters on a weekly basis. If some teams have 10, once we form the team, some team has a full roster of 10 and another has a roster of 8, we can ask and rotate 2 of those other players on the other team to come fill the back end of the second team there to allow other opportunities for the kids to play more games and get more exposure there as well. So we have a lot of flexibility inside that academy model to guest players back and forth between teams, also to give players opportunities to play on different squads if they need a situation arises, and or just to give them an opportunity to play more. So, okay. All right, so academy highlights. For the under 11s, we train 3 times a week. For the under 8s through under 10s, we train 2 times a week. That +1 for the U8s through U10s will be in the months of September and October. We're adding a skills session, a 3rd session for those 2 months of the season. So what it'll look like is August will be 2 times a week, and then September and October, we will train 3 times a week with an added skills session, and then revert back to 2 times a week after October and that last month of November. So you'll see 2 months in the fall and actually 2 months in the spring where we'll train 3 times a week. That will be included in your fees for the year, but keep in mind that'll be a separate sign up, even though it's part of your fees, because we want people to ensure that they're going to come to those sessions so we can plan accordingly with the staff and other things. But it's a great addition to our program, in addition to the preseason camp, just to allow players to reach their potential and to grow their ball mastery skills and be the best players they can be when they reach under 12 soccer and beyond. So the under 12s will also train 3 times a week. And so we're real excited about that, to offer as much as we can for these players and their development. Training schedules themselves will be published in late June, if not sooner. Training schedules could look anything like Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. It could be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It could be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We try to take into account everything as far as the players and the coaches and the field availability that we have. In the fall, we're more limited because we have all the older kids training as well as the younger kids. In the spring, a lot of the older teams go and play high school, so they're not part of the spring calendar schedule. So we have a little bit more flexibility in the spring on field availability. However, in the fall, it's a little bit more crunched because we have all those teams training and playing in the fall soccer. So, but like I said, we'll try to have those training schedules out to you in late June so you can plan your fall and other activities that you might have. Here's a quick look at the next month. As you can see, we are right on the edge of tryouts here on May 20th or 22nd. And if you can't see this, I'll send this out to you. But it's also available on our website under the calendar tab. Okay? But we're kind of at the end here. We've got pre-tryout camp Friday, Saturday, and then we have tryouts Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and evaluations. There we go. There's a good look at June right there. So club fees are listed here. These will be available to you at tryouts as well on Monday. But the under 8 through under 10 are $1,250 for the year. The U11 through U14 age group is $1,600 for the year, and that includes those 3 training sessions all year long from August through November, and then we start back kind of the last week of January and go through May. There's another cost here that involves team fees, which would cover your tournaments and any travel that your coach might have if you're going to an out-of-state tournament, which the under 8s through the under 11s won't go to an out-of-state tournament. We play everything locally here in Birmingham, or within 60 miles of Birmingham. So your team fees would only include the tournaments that you attend. Okay. For the under 12s, if they might go to an out-of-state tournament, you might have to, team fees might include coach travel and hotel. So, okay. So just to kind of recap our programming, we have under 8 through under 11 soccer, which is classified as academy, and that's that bridge program for competitive soccer. It's, for all intents and purposes, competitive soccer at under 8 through under 11. And then when we hit under 12, we have those fixed rosters, and those teams form at tryouts next week in a full competitive environment. Both of these groups will play in the Alabama leagues. The U8 through U11 will will play in the D League, which is run by Alabama Soccer. The under 12s will play in the Alabama State League. All sign up for tryouts is online, and everybody will need to do that if you haven't done that already. You'll have to do it at tryouts itself if you haven't done it yet. We want everybody to attend all tryouts if possible. If you have to miss, just message the directors and we'll get it noted for you in the profile. We have summer training and camps to start in July, but the main focus here for the under 8s through under 11s is preseason camp on July 29th to August 1st. And I believe the under 12s will start with some more general training that week. And then our fall start date with normal team training will begin on August 5th, 2024. Okay. Okay, everybody. Here we are. If you got any questions, please go ahead and drop them in the Q&A, and we'll get them answered.